Hello, Tommy Oldham here, and welcome to this week's Story of the Blues. Today, we're off on our travels again. It's another away day up north east to Gateshead, and the game is also live on TNT Sports. So tonight, sit back and let's hope we put a great show on for the cameras. Let's hope it's more exhilarating, exciting, brilliant, rather than some shocking horror story or something that looks like the Comedy Channel. Gateshead currently lie 11th in the table. They have won 2, drawn 2 and lost 2. They've scored 12 goals but conceded 10. They're good going forward, but they're also liable at the back. They've got good players in Dagniga and Wern and McBride. They have experience in Elliott at the back as well. But they're the sort of team that if we go for it and press them, we can have this. I say that because if we sit back and let them come at us, they'll do us self-end, and they're going to come at us anyway. So if we go at them at the start, we really take the game to them and get that first goal, it'll leave them more exposed. The away day breakfast, and I've panicked. I forgot to put my red sauce and brown sauce on together, definitely letting the team down. The Football League in 1960. We actually finished below them, but we were elected and they weren't. Obviously we played them in the FA Cup in 2019. Yeah, there was FA Trophy games the other week, but played Gateshead 3 times last season. The first one was the FA Trophy, which was actually switched to Boundary Park, and we lost 3-1. We then drew 2-2 in the league, throwing a 2-0 lead away. I remember it well, so it was my 40th birthday, with them getting 2 late goals. And then they beat us 2-1 up at their ground at the International Stadium. Williamson is a good manager, an upcoming manager. He likes to play good football, and they do like to score goals. They obviously had a bad start last year, but he turned it around. They finished very high up in the league for what they probably expected at the start of the year. And they were also losing finalists to Halifax in the FA Trophy. And I've had them this season as one of the underdogs to do well in the league. Already tunes, and today I've gone for 2 albums. Definitely Maybe, 29 years ago this week since it was released, an epic debut album. And obviously the Coral's debut album, The Coral, because I'm doing currently the Coral Top 20 on Twitter. Any good bands, any good albums, throw them over to me. Obviously at some point on away days I always bang my tunes in. Listen to football and music, there's a lot of combinations and a lot of links between them. And I'm going to give a shout to a lot of new bands as well. Looking at the background, you can see St James's, home of Newcastle United. Long time since we played there, and a long time since we'll probably play there again. Gateshead away. They've played 6-1-2, drawn 2, lost 2. They've scored 12, conceded 10. We've got to go at them, simply attack, push them, press them. They've scored a few, but they're like bull at the back. They've conceded some silly goals. We can really go at them. Straight into them today, boys. No messing around. Let's come on and let's have a win for Oldham. Come on, Blues. Come on, boys. See you on the terraces. Club coach has just arrived as well. We beat past him on the motorway.
Perfect. In contrast to that, Tom has joined in, Oldham Athletic fan. How has the season started compared to what you thought it might start?
Disappointing and very underwhelming. We finished the season last year very strongly. We've got a good set of players in pre-season. Norwood, who was in the League One playoff final. Hodgson, who was Southland's player of the year. Unfortunately, we've only got 1 win and 2 draws. Gateshead away. Come on, Oldham. Let's have this. Let's win this. Into one. Come on. Half time, winning 1-0, keep it up. It's not been great to watch, but it's certainly not been bad. I've seen far worse performances so far. Just maintain it second half, go for the second, and kill the game off. Come on, Oldham.
We love you all. We love you all. We're doing a lot. If Oldham win, we're doing a lot. If Oldham win, we're doing a lot. If Oldham win. They're singing at us. Singing do, I did do. Running past the defender, scoring 1-2.
It's a red card. He flipped the card out.
Yeah. It's not booked early on in the game. Second yellow. Got booked in the first half.
Very bad. The game we get some it's on a 13
Come on. Don't bless this up. Don't.
Come on, please. Come on, Oldham.
Oldham, still alive. Oldham, still alive. I'm Oldham, still alive. Still outside.
The time in the place. Got back at 3-0.
2-2, bit disappointed, a good point, but I felt we could have won that there. It's a stupid point to concede, but not the worst performance, a decent second half. You know he's famous when even Rhino wants a selfie with you.
Contrast to that, Tom has joined in, Oldham Athletic fan. How has the season started compared to what you thought it might start?
Disappointing and very underwhelming. We finished the season last year very strongly. We've got a good set of players in pre-season. Norwood, who was in the League One player final. Hodgson, who was Southend's Player of the Year. Unfortunately, we've only got 1 win and 2 draws, and most was expected to be a lot higher in the table so far.
So with the fans amongst, what are you talking about with the side? What do you need to see different? What do you want to see different?
We want to see us settle more, attacking minded, going for games. In some games, you've got to sit back. So once we've talked about fast dynamic football, you're not going to get that in National League. You're going to get body pitches in some games, but a good one. But unfortunately, we're not being entertained. It's been dull to watch. I know we've had a few injuries, it's not helped. But we've got players in this team that can push us forward, which are higher in the table. We've got goals in the team, but we're not utilising, we're setting up too defensive, which away from home is not bad. But you've got to win your home games, which we're not doing.
All right, well, Tom, wish me the best of luck. David, what do you...
So the game itself, now I thought the first half was evenly matched. Gateshead started off okay, they were confident, they were playing it out from the back, something we should have pressed them on. As expected, they came at us, but equally, we actually didn't sit back in the first half. And obviously, the goal came from a goalkeeping error, but the more the first half went on, we grew into the game. Hudson did make some good saves. I did see Norman involved in the warm-up while I was being interviewed, so I've got no idea what's going on there. Obviously, I can see why Gateshead have conceded so many goals. The keeper looked on edge, although he did make a couple of saves as well. We finished the first half stronger, though Wern was causing some problems. I like looking at Dienga and that Francis. Second half, well, Garner again, I thought played well. But unfortunately, he's been haunted by injuries and it came back to haunt him. Obviously, at 1-1, I thought East London was going to sit back, but we didn't. We pushed on, we got another goalkeeping error. Obviously, the second went in by Hogan. And at 2-1, we pushed on, we pressed, and we had chances to win it. And it was good to see, but obviously, wasn't able to hold on personally. I thought Green and Gardner all played well, as did Hogan and Hobson. Hobson was man of the match, but equally, he should have done better for that second goal. It was a silly one to concede. Saying that, 2-2, the pessimism got the better of me. I half expected to have seen Gateshead go on and win it, especially when we're down to 10 men, but the game slowly died on other than that free kick. I won't say either team was exactly great, but it wasn't bad either. I saw improvements on Monday's draw. On paper, it isn't a bad result, but Monday's loss to Solihull. A draw isn't bad on paper, but sadly, for me, it was 2 points dropped because we didn't take our chances and we got punished. I thought we were a better team in the second half and looked more likely to win it. The majority, if it was more us. The subs may have not been planned, but I thought they were decent and they actually made a difference, except the third sub. Now, I cannot fault Unsworth because we've slated him for not going for games, not going for it, not trying to kill the game off. And on this occasion, he did do, but it was clear Sutton was knackered and struggling. And as I said, Wern was causing him problems in the first half. Hobson had to help him out a few times. What's funny is, a Gateshead fan called Dan, he's put a vlog up, check it out, called something called the 10 men curse, which seems to hit Gateshead when teams go down to 10 men, but unfortunately it didn't work for us. Now, the discipline issue is a bit of a worry. Don't get me wrong, I want our players to be strong, I want them to be physical, I want them to be tough, but as much as we can blame referees for being told to clamp down on dissent, and that's something we need to accept and work on, otherwise we have to get used to playing games with only 10 men or numerous suspensions. Again, it wasn't our greatest performance, but it wasn't our worst either. I saw improvements, and as I've asked for today, we had goals, there was moments of excitement, entertainment, we were on edge. Obviously, it's still far from perfect. I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to change my opinion. I still think he needs to go. He's not the man to take us forward, but I don't think they deserve to be booed off today. And it was a bit sad at the end of the game, the fans at each other's throat. Throughout the game, it wasn't actually that bad. I know George was trying to get his singing going and a few with the San Marino flag were giving him back. That was more banter, really, banter which should be between the home and away fans. But in the game, obviously, and after that goal went in, the toxicity come out. I know when we went 1 up and 2 up, some of the fans, they looked in shots like, oh, not know what to do because we're winning. But for me, we're now going to a big game, run of games, and we're going to see them in a moment. We've now got a run of 10 games, and I'm looking at them all. To be fair, each one is winnable. The highest is Rochdale in 8th and Maidenhead in 10th, but I'm looking at it and none of them put the fear in me. Obviously, we start with Dorking at home. The rest of the teams are like mid-table around, and we've got to start getting these wins now. And I'm not trying to sound arrogant, it's just we need to kick on. We should be putting it up on this dressing room wall and saying, right, get a run of these games together, and we're back in the fold, we're back up and running. Obviously, Frank's come out and backed him. So, David, now it's down to you to put these results, get these results. And there were signs, encouragement from Saturday's game that we can do it. Anyway, here's the league table. Obviously, John Rooney has now departed Oldham. He's gone to Macclesfield at playing the Evo Stick Northern Premier. It's been rumoured for months about him going to Macclesfield. For me, never quite really achieved what we expected from him. He came very highly rated. Barrow and Stockport fans really talked him up. He never quite got the ground going. Second half of the season, he was one of our better players. You could see his frustrations last year at Maidenhead, but many people sort of guessed the writing was on the wall. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. For me, no bad feelings, ill feelings towards him. Good luck to him. Maybe we'll find out months to come what really went on. But obviously it's wage free, which can go now back into investing back into the team. Although there's time to share his experience may have been needed. But what it is, go on, bigger things, better things, bring other players in. We move on, we go on. Obviously, lots been said about Gateshead Stadium being, oh, it's TNT Sports Athletics ground. Now, to be fair, when I was interviewed, the fans were in one stand. I think one played in the FA Cup, they're in two. But it sounded loud, it sounded lively. Now, Gateshead originally used to play in a ground called Red Hoo Park. It was built in 1913 when South Shields moved out of it. Gateshead moved into it from Horsley Hill. It was the home for 40 years until after they weren't re-elected into the Football League and got relegated. They ended up, I think they went under, and that's when they moved to the Gateshead International Stadium. Now, there was plans for a new ground. Had England got the World Cup, it was going to be the big training hub in the North East, and it never happened. And talking to a few fans now, it doesn't seem like there's any plans for a new ground. Now, the catch-22 is it's not a great ground for their fans. They don't like it, but if they got to the Football League, it doesn't meet criteria. So I suppose that's one little advantage of it. For me, it's a bit of character, reminding me of an Eastern European ground like you got on the old Eastern Bloc countries on, like maybe the Soviet Union times. But it's not the worst ground I've been to. It's better than the Wisden, which was it, you were even further out, which you remember when Brighton played there. Now, I missed Frank coming into the stand because obviously I'd done the interview. So I've seen the video on Twitter. Again, credit to Frank. He could have easily sat behind a keyboard, behind a TV screen. He's come and he's tried to address the situation. I'm not going to debate any of his points. They're all good, valid points. I can imagine Unsworth being worked up and frustrated. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean a thing to fans if we're not picking up points. Obviously, there were some little improvements yesterday. But again, it's the consistency and following it up. And to be fair to Frank, you're right. You have bought a club and you have done so much work. And no one's disputing that at all. And I enjoy having you in the stands. And it's not nice for us seeing what's happening. And the fans have got no issue with you whatsoever. But I look at Unsworth, and I've said this tonight on Twitter. Say what you want, but I always say a good manager needs a good number two. Ferguson had it in McLaren, Kidd and Queiroz. Wadsworth when he brought Dowie in. And then Dowie took over. Royal and Donachie, and I just look at Ebrel, I look at that backroom team at the moment, and they're all too quiet for me. Which obviously, as the game goes on, Unsworth does get up and he tries to, but you always need a loud man and a quiet man. And maybe one suggestion would be for Unsworth, especially as Jeffers has gone, to bring another number two in, someone who's that loudmouth, someone to assist him, someone to give that players that kick up the backside when they need it. They always say, actually, when it comes to coaching, it's not the manager that does the coaching, it's his number two and he's good coaches. So that's maybe something. But I hope Frank's not disheartened. But at the end of the day, as I said, the board is not immune from criticism at all. And this is where he needs to sit down with Darren Royal and look at overall the bigger picture. Don't get me wrong, I want him to go, but I'm not going to be hell-bent as some people are. But at the end of the day, the longer it goes on, fans will get impatient and the longer crowds will drop. Shout out to my mate Jonathan Stato Foster, Southampton fan, and Chris, who saw their team get hammered 5-0 by Sunderland, but then came afterwards and watched the Oldham Gateshead game as well. Great to see. It's always nice when mates of mine decide they're going to come and watch the Mighty Blues. Obviously, they saw probably one of our better performances than what we've had throughout the season so far. I'll catch you in Poland next week. And that's it for today. It's actually a relatively short video. Thanks to Dave Ladkin, Don Walker and Helen for sending me some Angel and off photos. I didn't really get much time to go around Gateshead itself. Obviously, we play Dorking on Saturday. I won't be there, I'll be on international duty, so there will be a little pre-match build-up, but I'll do when I'm in Poznan. But there'll probably be no vlog unless something big or dramatic happens. So, likely my next game will be Bromley. So, keep watching, keep getting behind the boys. Feel free to check out all my videos again. For some reason, YouTube have took views off a few of them. Keep the faith. Come on up, come on Oldham, and I'll see you on the terraces.